The pot roast sits untouched on my plate while my mother circles the dining table, topping off water with practiced precision. Sunday dinner at the Hayes home moves in its usual choreography, crystal catching the chandelier, heirloom china shining against dark wood that has hosted years of tension disguised as togetherness. My father checks his watch. "Rebecca should be here by now," he says. "You know your sister," my mother adds, always on her own clock. The front door swings open, followed by the click of heels on hardwood. Rebecca sweeps in laughing, wind-blown and bright. "Sorry I am late." She drops her purse on the sideboard beside the crystal bowl my mother guards. Something dangles from her finger, a ring of keys with a graphite leather tag. My stomach tightens. My key ring, my car. "Did the interview go well?" my father asks, beaming. "Seemed to," she says, sliding into her chair. "The manager said I had excellent qualifications." My mother serves her a generous portion. The room tilts. I set down my fork with care, the silver making a soft clink against bone china. "Did you take my car without asking?" My voice is low and even. Rebecca twirls the keys and lets them fall beside her water glass. "Please, it sits in your garage most days anyway." "That is not an answer," I say. "Family helps family," my father replies. "Your sister needed to make a strong impression." This morning, I reached for my spare keys on the hook by the door and found the peg empty. I assumed I had misplaced them. It never occurred to me that someone would simply take them. "You could have asked," I say. "Honestly," my mother answers, "it is not as if you were using it." The dismissal stings, but beneath it something darker wakes, a slow, burning fury I rarely allow. 3 months ago, I stood in a conference room in my best charcoal suit and presented the design proposal that kept me late for 18 months. When the contract closed, I knew what I would do with my commission. The dealership called the color Iron Shadow, a gray that tips to black after rain. The salesman blinked when I signed a loan, the first thing I have ever owned that was not used. My phone buzzes. Then again. 6 notifications stack up. Against my mother's rule, I look. Beautiful car. "When did your parents buy it?" I open the post, and there she is. Rebecca posed by my sedan at a valet stand, captioned with thanks to Mom and Dad for the gift. 23 likes, 4 comments, posted an hour ago. I set the phone face up. The room stills. "You mentioned a scratch," I say quietly. "Show me." 2 minutes later, we stand in the driveway. The scrape runs a foot along the passenger door, red paint embedded in iron shadow. Not a parking lot kiss, a hydrant. "Were you texting while driving?" Rebecca looks towards the house. "Insurance will cover it," she mutters. "My insurance," I say. "My premiums, my work, my choice, and my boundary." Charlotte's loft hums with silence, the kind that amplifies every restless footstep. 8 paces from window to wall, turn, repeat. Beyond the glass, 12 floors below, my new sedan sits beneath a pale streetlight, the angry scar along its passenger side catching the glow like a wound that refuses to close. I stop, pressing my palms against the cool windowpane. My reflection stares back, jaw tight, eyes hollow. This car was not just metal and leather. It was the culmination of months spent in hard hats on construction sites, reviewing blueprints until my eyes blurred, rewriting proposals at midnight while the city slept. The graphite gray sedan was proof that I had carved something for myself without my parents' permission, without Rebecca's charm smoothing the way. Tonight, that proof feels stolen, not just scratched, claimed. I pace again. Every memory of growing up under the Hayes roof replays in cruel flashes Rebecca's 16th birthday, when a red convertible appeared in the driveway while I balanced trays at the diner to cover tuition. My mother's voice whenever I earned recognition. "That's nice, dear. Now help your sister." My father's sigh whenever I asked for fairness. "Don't be dramatic, Charlotte. The rhythm is predictable." Rebecca takes. My parents defend. I yield. Over and over, until my silence became their expectation. But standing here, staring at the scar carved into my car, I feel the expectations snap like brittle glass. I drop into my desk chair. The surface is neat, my habits of control laid out in pens aligned and files squared. On the corner, the silver plaque from last year's award, Regional Project Leader of the Year. My gaze slides to the folder from Dalton's office, the one I had been preparing for weeks. Client transportation costs, expense reports, tax depreciation charts. The numbers whisper possibilities. What if I stop fighting them on their stage, where every argument tilts in Rebecca's favor? What if I shift the stage entirely? My pulse quickens. Persuasion has never worked. Demands only fuel their narrative of me as cold, selfish, ungrateful. So I need a different tactic, something clean, something they cannot undo. I open my laptop and pull up the proposal draft. My sedan gleams in a mock-up photo, firm's logo ghosted along its door. I adjust the margins, refine the phrasing, tighten the financial projection until it sings in Dalton's language. Savings, efficiency, branding. My car not as personal luxury, but as professional asset. A laugh escapes me, sharp and startled. They wanted to turn my achievement into family property. Fine. I'll make it property no family claim can touch. The clock on the wall strikes midnight. I save the document, slide the laptop shut, and let the silence settle once more. My fists unclench slowly. For the first time in years, I am not imagining how to win their approval. I am planning how to remove their access. Tomorrow, I decide, my car will stop being their toy. It will become untouchable. And with that, I finally sleep. Monday morning dawns gray, the Portland skyline veiled in mist as I pull my blazer tight and head into the firm's glass tower. The lobby smells of coffee and polished stone, a space designed to impress clients and intimidate anyone who doubts our stability. I step into the elevator, clutching my briefcase where the proposal waits, my heartbeat syncing with the ascent. On the 12th floor, the hum of the office greets me. Phones ring, printers chatter, conversations rise and fall. Normally, this energy steadies me. Today, it fuels my resolve. At 10 sharp, I enter the conference room. Mr. Dalton, the CFO, sits at the head of the table, adjusting his glasses over a thick stack of quarterly reports. Beside him, two analysts hover with laptops open. His eyes lift to mine, cool and assessing. Charlotte, you said you had something beyond the usual numbers? Yes, sir. I slide the folder across the table with deliberate care. I believe we're overspending on client transportation. I've run the numbers for the last 12 months. He flips open the file. The first page is a chart comparing mileage reimbursements, rental fees, and maintenance costs of pool vehicles. His brows rise. You're suggesting consolidation? Not consolidation. Strategy. My voice remains even, confident. Right now, we spend over $1,200 monthly just reimbursing directors for travel. That doesn't include the cost of rentals for high-profile visits. Dalton taps his pen, skeptical but curious. And your solution? I gesture toward the mock-up photo tucked into the folder. My graphite gray sedan, pristine except for the added logo of Hayes and Dalton Architects along the door. A dedicated executive vehicle, branded for client events and presentations. The upfront cost is neutralized by tax depreciation, reduced reimbursements, and increased visibility. One analyst frowns. So you're saying we buy a new car? Not buy. I meet Dalton's gaze. Transfer. I already own one that meets our specifications. Leather interior, top safety rating, less than 6 months old. I'm offering to sign it over to the firm at fair market value. The room goes silent. The second analyst leans back, folding his arms. Dalton studies me, then the figures. You'd willingly hand over your personal vehicle? Yes. I keep my tone steady, though my pulse pounds. Because I believe in protecting our image as much as I believe in protecting our bottom line. And frankly, it makes financial sense. He flips another page where I outlined projected savings, 30% reduction in reimbursements, streamlined scheduling, consistent branding. I had underlined the phrase client perception value. Dalton lingers on that. You've always been thorough, he says finally. But this is bold. Bold is how we secured the Whitman contract, I remind him. Bold is how we differentiate ourselves in a saturated market. This is no different. His mouth quirks, almost a smile. You know, I wondered when you'd make a move like this, Hayes. Strategic, but personal. I'll need legal to review, but I'm inclined to approve. Relief floods my chest, though I keep my expression controlled. Thank you, sir. Dalton closes the folder and sets it neatly atop the reports. Prepare the paperwork with Wallace and Legal. If it checks out, we'll finalize by week's end. You may have just saved us a considerable sum. 2 hours later, I walk out of the conference room lighter than I've felt in years. Not because I've given something up, because I've taken control in the only way my family cannot undo. The following afternoon, the elevator doors open onto the hushed hallway of Legal. Fluorescent lights hum overhead, the air tinged with the faint scent of paper and toner. Attorney Wallace greets me with a clipped nod, his tie a precise Windsor knot, his eyes sharp behind wire-rimmed glasses. Charlotte, he says, extending a folder thick with documents. Mr. Dalton briefed me. Let's walk through the transfer. We settle into a conference room that smells faintly of leather binders and polished oak. Wallace flips open the folder, his pen poised. First, title transfer. Once you sign here, the vehicle becomes property of Hayes and Dalton Architects. No reversal without board approval. I scan the lines. Every clause is a lock clicking into place, securing the sedan beyond my family's reach. Understood, I say, sliding the pen across the paper with deliberate precision. Insurance shifts effective immediately, Wallace continues. The firm covers premiums, accidents, and maintenance. Repairs are logged as operational costs. He glances at me over the rims of his glasses. That scratch you mentioned, already scheduled for buffing under maintenance. A breath I hadn't realized I was holding releases. The blemish Rebecca left will vanish, erased like it never happened. We move to the next page. Corporate plates ordered. Reserved parking space already designated in the underground garage. He gestures toward a photograph clipped to the file. A white placard reading Reserved, Client Relations, mounted on a prime spot near the elevator. My sedan gleams beneath it, freshly washed, the graphite body reflecting fluorescent light. For the first time, the sight makes me smile. Logo decals will arrive later this week, Wallace says, sliding the final sheet forward. Optional magnetic branding for flexibility. I take the pen again, pressing it firmly against the line. Each stroke feels like a wall built, a boundary inked in permanence. When I finish, Wallace gathers the papers with a satisfied nod. Congratulations! You've made a shrewd move. That evening, Maya arrives at my loft carrying a paper bag from our favorite Thai place and a bottle of wine. She sets everything on the counter, eyes sparkling with curiosity. So? Did you do it? I pour the wine into 2 glasses, handing one to her. It's done. The car is no longer mine. It belongs to the firm. She clinks her glass against mine, grinning. Most people yell at their family when lines get crossed. You rewrote the rules. I laugh softly, the sound surprising me. I guess it's the architect in me. Build new structures instead of patching the old ones. We sit cross-legged on the couch, cartons of noodles spread between us. The city lights spill across the floor as I explain the details. Insurance, plates, maintenance. Maya listens, then shakes her head in admiration. That's not just setting boundaries, Charlotte. That's pouring concrete around them. I lean back, savoring the taste of freedom mingled with ginger and chili. For the first time in years, I feel secure. My car is untouchable, my decision irreversible. And soon, my family will learn that lesson the hard way. By Friday evening, my apartment is quieter than usual. The hum of the refrigerator feels too loud, every creak of the floorboards magnified by the anticipation coiled in my chest. On the kitchen table sits a slim leather folder, its contents arranged with the precision of a blueprint, stamped title transfer, insurance confirmation, maintenance reports, even a photo of the reserved corporate parking space. Proof, page after page, that the sedan is no longer mine to give, or theirs to take. I run my fingers over the embossed seal on the front page. A part of me wants to laugh at how simple the answer was. For years, I tried to explain, to plead for fairness, to fight battles already lost. Now, with a handful of signatures, I've built a wall they cannot climb. Saturday passes in a haze. I draft emails, sip coffee that grows cold before I finish it, try to read without absorbing a single word. Every so often I glance at the folder, reassuring myself it's still there, that I didn't imagine the ink or the stamps. By Sunday morning, the ritual of dread returns. For 31 years, I've walked into my parents' house on Sundays knowing the script. Rebecca as the star, my parents as her cheerleaders, me as the forgotten understudy. But this time the script is different. This time, I hold the lines. I dress deliberately, dark green blouse, black trousers, hair pulled back in a sleek knot. Professional, composed. Not a daughter begging for recognition, but a director delivering a plan. I slip the folder into my bag, its weight both anchor and weapon. Before leaving, I call Maya. She picks up on the second ring, her voice bright. Ready for battle? Ready for something, I say. You don't owe them explanations, Char. But if you want to give one, at least you've got the receipts. Her words steady me. I hang up, lock the apartment, and head to the garage. My old SUV waits, its worn leather seat molding to me like a second skin. The graphite sedan sits 2 rows over, freshly polished, logo magnet glinting. I glance at it once, a small smile curving my lips. They'll never touch it again. The drive to my parents' house is lined with familiar landmarks, the corner bookstore I once worked at, the park where Rebecca crashed my bicycle when we were kids. Each memory tightens and then loosens like a knot unraveling. When I pull into the driveway, the same scent of pot roast drifts from the open kitchen window. My father's silhouette moves in the dining room. My mother's voice floats through the air. And there, leaning against the porch railing, is Rebecca. Arms crossed, a flash of entitlement in her eyes as she scans the driveway for a car that isn't coming. I cut the engine, smooth my blouse, and grip the strap of my bag. Inside is everything I need. Tonight, for the first time, I won't be playing their game. Tonight, I'll be rewriting the rules. The dining room looks exactly as it always has. Mahogany table polished to a sheen, chandelier humming with soft light, china plates gleaming against linen napkins. But tonight, as I take my seat, I feel the weight of something different pressing into the air. The folder in my bag is heavier than stone, though it contains nothing more than paper. Dinner begins with practiced motions. My mother ladles gravy onto Rebecca's plate. My father carves roast beef with the precision of habit. Rebecca twirls her hair, her eyes flicking toward the driveway as if the graphite sedan might appear there by magic. Finally, my father clears his throat, the prelude to every decree. Charlotte, your sister needs reliable transportation. With the job market so cutthroat, first impressions matter. We thought perhaps you could add her to your insurance, just for a few months. My mother follows on cue, her voice gentle but firm. It makes sense, darling. You work from home 3 days a week. The car just sits there. Rebecca leans forward, lashes fluttering in exaggerated sincerity. I'll be more careful this time. I promise. I lay my fork down, slow and deliberate. Reaching into my bag, I pull out the leather folder and place it on the table. That won't be possible. My mother's smile falters. What do you mean? I flip the folder open. Corporate seals gleam beneath the chandelier. This car, I say evenly, is no longer mine. It belongs to Hayes and Dalton Architects. It's a company asset now. Rebecca snatches at the papers, scanning them with widening eyes. This isn't fair! You did this on purpose. Yes, I answer calmly. I did. My father leans forward, his tone edged with authority. Explain yourself. I meet his gaze without flinching. The sedan is registered under the firm. Insurance, maintenance, repairs, all covered by corporate accounts, even the scratch gone. There is nothing for you or Rebecca to borrow. My mother's eyes brim with tears, weaponized like always. After all we've done for you, Charlotte, how could you betray your family this way? I almost laugh at the rewriting of history. Done for me? You gave me $600 a semester for books. The rest I paid with 2 jobs and scholarships. Rebecca slams the folder shut, her composure cracking. You've always been selfish, always holding things over me. My voice remains steady. What I've held are boundaries. This car was mine to protect. Now it's beyond any inch's reach. Silence hangs heavy, broken only by the steady tick of the grandfather clock in the hall. For once, I don't feel small beneath their judgment. I feel solid, unshakable. I close the folder with quiet finality, the sound sharper than any shout. The matter is settled. The car is not mine to lend. And I won't apologize for securing what I've earned. Rebecca pushes her chair back so hard the legs scrape against the wood, the sound sharp enough to make the chandelier tremble. Her voice cracks, raw and shrill. You've ruined everything! You always have to control to make me look bad. Why can't you just share for once in your life? My father's face reddens, his jaw tight. If this is how you treat family, Charlotte, perhaps you should reconsider your place in this family's future. His words land heavy, like a threat sharpened over decades. My mother leans forward, tears spilling with theatrical precision. Your father worked overtime for years to give you every opportunity, and this is your gratitude? Locking your own sister out like a stranger? I almost laugh. Gratitude? Overtime? I open the folder again, sliding out a bank statement I had brought not for them, but for myself. Proof of the truth, $600 per semester. That's what you contributed to my education. I paid the rest through scholarships, loans, and working double shifts. My mother's mouth opens, then shuts. Her rehearsed script interrupted. Rebecca slams her palm on the table. You're pathetic! You keep receipts for everything just to throw in our faces. I look at her squarely. Receipts? Yes. Because I've been paying for your choices, too. Remember the 3 semesters of textbooks I bought for you? The rent I covered when you couldn't hold a job? The deposit for that loft you never repaid? I never called it back. Until now. Her face blanches, the practiced arrogance slipping like paint in the rain. My father's fork clatters against his plate. That's enough. No, I say quietly, and the steadiness of my tone freezes them more than shouting ever could. Enough is me working 80-hour weeks while you posted my car as your gift online. Enough is me patching holes every time Rebecca walked away from responsibility, while you praised her courage to try new paths. Enough is pretending love means I owe you everything I build. The grandfather clock ticks, each second dragging the silence wider. Rebecca's voice trembles now, stripped of bravado. You had opportunities I didn't. You always had the discipline, the focus. I just wanted something too. Opportunities? My throat tightens, but my voice stays calm. I carved them with my bare hands, Rebecca. Discipline wasn't a gift, it was survival. And instead of support, I got comparison. Instead of recognition, I got dismissal. My father exhales through his nose, a sound more like surrender than authority. My mother dabs her eyes, but the tears no longer carry weight. For the first time, they all look less like judges and more like people startled by a truth they cannot refute. I gather the folder, slip it back into my bag, and rise from my chair. I love you. But love has boundaries. You don't get to cross mine anymore. The scrape of my chair as I push it in is the only sound in the room. As I walk toward the door, the weight I've carried for 31 years begins to fall away, piece by piece, with every step. 6 months later, the morning sun streams through the wide windows of my corner office, catching the silver letters on the nameplate that now reads Charlotte Hayes, Executive Director. I run a finger along its edge, a quiet acknowledgement of distance traveled. Through the glass, I can see the company parking lot, where my graphite gray sedan gleams with the firm's logo across its door panels. It has appeared in our spring marketing campaign, in photos with smiling clients, in articles about innovative branding. The scratch Rebecca left is long gone, erased by corporate maintenance. What remains is mine in a deeper sense: the decision, the boundary, the clarity. Still admiring your handiwork? My assistant jokes from the doorway, holding a stack of reports. Just thinking about how far we've come, I reply, smiling. Later that week, I meet Maya at a quiet coffee shop. She stirs her latte, eyes dancing. So, your mom texted again? She did. Asked if we could have dinner, just the two of us. No guilt trips, just dinner. Maya raises a brow. And your dad? Signed the Christmas card himself this year, I say, half laughing. Progress, I suppose. She squeezes my hand across the table. Small victories. News drifts in that Rebecca has finally kept a job past the 90-day mark. The words don't sting the way they once did. Instead, they fall softly, like rain on soil no longer barren. Maybe she is learning, or maybe I am simply free from carrying her failures. Back at the office, a younger colleague named Serena hovers in my doorway, nervous. They said I don't have enough experience to lead the Denver pitch. But I wrote the proposal. It's mine. I motion her in, seeing my younger self in the tightness of her shoulders, the fear of being overlooked. Your achievements belong to you, I tell her. Never apologize for them. Her eyes widen, relief flooding her face. As she leaves, determination in her step, I feel something new. Legacy. Not the kind written in wills or deeds, but in the courage we hand to others. That evening, as I drive to a client meeting, the city glows in golden light. The sedan hums smoothly beneath me, its leather seats molded to my shape. In the rearview mirror, I catch a glimpse of the woman I was 6 months ago, tired, cautious, always bending. She fades like a shadow as the light changes, replaced by who I am now. Success, I realize, is not what you own. It is what you protect. It is the strength to say no, even to family, and mean it. Some prices are too high, but some lessons are worth every penny. Family can be the hardest place to draw boundaries, because love often gets confused with sacrifice. For years, Charlotte gave in, her time, her money, even her peace of mind, until she realized that giving without respect is not love, it's surrender. By signing away her car, she didn't just protect a possession, she protected her dignity. And when her family finally faced the truth, they learned that boundaries are not walls to shut people out. They are doors we choose who to open for. The real inheritance we can claim is not money or property, but the courage to honor ourselves. Because success is never measured by what others take from you. It is measured by what you refuse to give up, your worth, your voice, and your right to be respected.